Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That's a Shoot, my weekly episode show. What talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, unless we're doing predictions, or unless it's time for the annual WWE Awards. That's right, the 9th annual WWE Awards. This is I can't believe I've been 9 years doing this. Next year's the 10th one. I might have something special with the 10th one. If you watch my top 10 John Cena matches, you would I talked about it a little bit there. I'm thinking I'm gonna make that. I'm trying to make that possible next year. So there you go. But this year's the awards, we're gonna talk about everything this year. We're gonna talk about who's the in-ring performer of the year, the superstar of the year, tag team of the year, rivalry, and much more. All of that coming for you on this episode of That's a Shoot. We will also take a look back at the lives that we lost in the wrestling world at the end as well. But as always, we start off. We actually not always, because this year is a new one. I started off with Rookie of the Year, but it's just so hard to know how to really define a rookie. If is a rookie like the first year that they're on the main roster? Is it the first year that they're wrestling all together in NXT? Because or what is it? Because there's some people who are not even like they were wrestling on the indies before they got to WWE. So it's just very hard to tell who's a rookie, who's not. So I created the Breakout Star of the Year award. So that's what this is going to be from now on. It's Breakout Star of the Year. So let's go ahead and let's start with that one. Here are your nominees for Breakout Star of the Year: Yoshiki Imamura, Kendall Gray, Stephanie Vicker, Miles Bourne, Tatum Paxley, and Javon Evans. In each way they broke out, Imamura became a big star with Josh Briggs in the tag division, and you get the NXT crowd jumping. Kendall Gray is the Evolve Women's Champion, and she just recently won the Iron Survivor Challenge, giving her a match with JC Jane at New Year's Evil. Stephanie Vicker, earlier this year, she won both the NXT Women's and NXT Women's North American Championship, held it at the same time by defeating Julia. Amazing. Miles Bourne stepped out. He stepped away from his out of the shadow of the no quarter catch crew. And he talked about his disability of not being able to hear all that well. And became a pretty good star, I think. He's got a future. He's Randy Orton Jr., there's no doubt about that, but he's got a future. Tatum Paxley winning the NXT Women's Champion in a storyline that involved the real life departing of a couple of her friends. Gigi Dolan is one of them. And then Javon Evans, he broke out so fast this year that they have pretty much decided to fast track him, as just recently on Monday Night Raw they talked about him being a free agent and being assigned. So he's not going to be doing too much on NXT anymore. I'm pretty much think that he's going to have a NXT match with Ricky Saints, probably at New Year's Evil, and then after that he's going to go be on the main roster full time. So these 6 nominees were great this year, but only one can be the breakout star of 2025, and the winner is, it's Stephanie Vicker. She stepped out of main light really fast. So fast, in fact, that she didn't even stay in NXT very long. She went directly to the main roster on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And she has not looked back since. She is now, of course, the Women's World Heavyweight Champion. And she's doing big things. And, of course, what's gotten her over is her move to Devil's Kiss. And with a little help of Booker T. Ah, 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 ah. Excuse me. She has become a main attraction. If not for nothing else, just the Devil's Kiss. So, without question, the breakout star of 2025 was Stephanie Vaquero. Next is the most improved of the year. The nominees are Trick Williams, Naomi, Dominic Mysterio, Jade Cargill, JC Jane, and Maxine Dupree. The heel turn for Trick Williams early in the year really just boosted him up, and him and also the work that he worked with TNA when he became the TNA Heavyweight Champion was amazing. The in-ring work improved. The character work was amazing. He was just an all-around. So he went from star to superstar. He is main roster ready right now. He has not been on NXT for a couple of weeks, but I think he soon is going to show up on either Raw or SmackDown. Naomi, again, the heel turn for her was tremendous, and the work she did to proceed with caution and everything like that. She turned some of her biggest doubters into some of her biggest supporters, and that's something that you can tell by that. And obviously, she has not wrestled she has not been on television in several months because she is pregnant. But when she comes back, I hope she comes back better than ever, and and continues that character work that she has. Bring it, don't, just because fans are going to cheer her, don't turn her into a heel. Don't turn her into a babyface. Keep her as a heel. This is going to be some really good stuff, I think, from Naomi. Dominic Mysterio, what else can you say? He's the AAA Mega Champion. He was Intercontinental Champion. He still is the Intercontinental Champion. He was two-time Intercontinental Champion. Just amazing. The fans, again, talk about turnaround. The fans went from booing him when he would talk to actually wanting to hear what he had to say. Unless it was against John Cena, but he's been truly amazing. In-ring work, character work, mic promo skills. He is amazing. Jade Cargill. What else can you say? I thought that she had a heel turn against Tiffany Stratton, and I think it is, but she kind of has not been in here. She's been in the face of everybody, baby face or heel. So I don't know what she is. There's still some spots here when it comes to the wrestling that is, a little bit janky, but you can look past that to see what she's doing because the work she's done has been tremendous. JC Jane, the only woman to hold the NXT and TNA Women's Championships at the same time. And she beat Stephanie Vaquero. She's been able to put on great performance after performance, when she's needed. And she's always had great character work. Going back to her days in what's the Lord have mercy. It hasn't been that long, but I already forgot the name of their thing. Fatal Influence is their team name now, but there was another one that with her and Gigi and Mandy. I forgot it, but even back then it was good. And Maxine Dupree has just come. She's really on this list. It's going to be 5, but the past couple months, when she's worked with Becky and some of the stuff that she has done, the work, I think kind of shows that maybe she is kind of improving. I want to see what happens next. I want to see was they really going to give her like a trial run, or are they going to put the title back on Becky. I would love to see her keep the title until WrestleMania. But I think she should drop it to somebody then. But I think this is going to be an all-star performance for Maxine Dupree. Really good. But only one can be the most improved of the year, and that accolade goes to Trick Williams. I've just been amazed at what he has done as a heel. Come on, let's talk about it. Has become a catchphrase that many people have said, and just everything about him exudes, star. And like I said in my little preamble, he's become a superstar with this heel turn. And spoiler alert. Well, there's no spoiler alert. I'm recording this before the SmackDown of the 26th, but this is gonna come after. This is gonna be premiered after the SmackDown of Friday the 26th. So Carmelo Hayes is the new United States champion. He defeated Ilya Dragunov. And I think Carmelo's first feud should be none other than his former best friend, Trick Williams. I think that would be an awesome way to start. Trick Williams is the 2025 most improved of the year. Next award, the Tag Team of the Year. The nominees are DIY, the Judgment Day Women, the Judgment Day Men, Charlotte and Alexa, and the Street Profits. I don't have to be honest with you, this year has been kind of a bad year for tag team wrestling, in particular at least in the men's division. I think the last 3 or 4 months, the women's division has been on fire, especially since Charlotte and Alexa, got into it. And when you put the titles on 2 big names like Charlotte and Alexa, and all of a sudden, the division gets better, and you start building teams. Now you've got several teams. Several teams of women who are fighting for the tag team champions, and that's awesome. And that's what it kind of should be. As for the men, the SmackDown division has been on lock, and we may talk about the SmackDown tag division a little later. But the Raw division, yeah. However, with Jimmy and Jay reuniting, this could bring the tag team division back on Raw back to a more bigger and more main event type level. This is main event Jey Uso. Yeet. So I guess it's good stuff here. But really, this is like an award that, come on. There can only be one choice, right? The winner of the 2025 Tag Team of the Year is, it's Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. It's just like last year. It was gonna go to Bianca and Jade. This is this year with Charlotte and Alexa. It had to be, and they well deserved it. They have been amazing. I know there's some thoughts that they want to turn from these two and from one of these two, and everybody goes to Charlotte because Charlotte's a heel, but Alexa's a pretty good heel too. I think that the thing is that you do have to realize though that Alexa is 5 feet tall, and Charlotte Flair is about 5'8", 5'9", as you can just see by the picture. So she kind of but I think she can do it. You'd have to have you can't do what they were doing the Roxanne Perez in NXT. But she's 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, but she's beating women bigger than her, not by cheating, and that's not realistic. And I think the same can be for Alexa Bliss. But I think Alexa Bliss can cheat. I think she would cheat, and that's really good. And so if someone does have to turn heel, I hope it is Alexa Bliss, but I hope it's not. I hope it's not pretty time soon. I'd like to see it at WrestleMania. I am going to do a video of how I would book WrestleMania 42 coming up. The matches that I would make for it, and I have a match there that I think would be that could be made that would be perfect for an Alexa Bliss heel turn to happen at WrestleMania 42. So I think that's good. So yeah, the tag team of the year goes to Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Woo! Next is Rivalry of the Year. The nominees are the entire SmackDown Tag Division. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Jey Uso versus Gunther. Now, I mentioned it just a little bit a while ago that, the SmackDown Tag Division has been pretty great. And with those, we can take away Andrade and Rey Fenix. So if you just count those 5 tag teams right there of DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium, the Wyatt 6, and Street Profits, they have put on some nice performances, including 2 5-star matches that will be nominated later on in the Match of the Year category. Spoiler alert. And they've done some great things, in that SmackDown Tag Division. But it just hasn't been like one team versus another team. This has been a combination of all of those 5 teams making it. So that's why I'm putting the SmackDown Tag Division as a nominee. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, from the shocking heel turn of John Cena at Elimination Chamber to the WrestleMania Night 2 main event where Travis Scott got involved and allowed John Cena to win number 17, and then to come back into Survivor Series. But Cody Rhodes, not Survivor Series, it's SummerSlam, but Cody Rhodes had won King of the Ring and cashes in his title shot against John Cena, and is able to turn John Cena back babyface and have a tremendous match at SummerSlam. Unreal. Jade and Naomi, they did some good character work. Jade and Naomi were first. They were the. Okay, wait a minute. I want to make sure I get this right. They're not the first women to have first black women to have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. That was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, who actually who was in the main event. But there was a first. Their match at WrestleMania was a first of some kind. And I'm trying to think of what it was. Maybe it was the first women's match. The first one-on-one women's match of 2 black women since Bianca and Sasha Banks. Maybe that was the one. I can't remember. But anyway, they had a match there. They had a match at Evolution with Bianca Belair being a special guest referee. Of course, later that night, Naomi cashed in her title shot, to win the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. So, but they had a tremendous rivalry. Naomi, got throughout. And Jade Cargill. So, that was interesting. Roman Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed stole that man's shoes. I mean, that right there should give you the winning. He stole his shoes. I mean, when that happened, it was like TikTok went out of his mind. Talking about Bronson Reed stealing that man's shoes. They just couldn't believe he got shoe jacked. And of course, he had a match, the Clash in Paris, which Roman won, but then the rematch at Crown Jewel, Bronson Reed won. They're tied 1-1. I don't know when Roman Reigns is coming back, but if we do, I would think he's going to get that third and final match with Bronson Reed. So that would be very interesting. CM Punk and Seth Rollins. This has been going on for more than just a year. This has been 2 years, and to the way that they have done it, this has been amazing. And these guys don't like each other in real life as well. So, but they make good music together, and it's like that old Memphis saying, right? Real issues make money. Personal issues make money. And they got a personal issue, and they've made money with it. And Jey Uso and Gunther, I think this is worthy of it. Jey Uso beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then Gunther got his title back against Jey Uso. Gunther, bathed in Jimmy's blood at one point. It was just absolute insane rivalry. So many people were worried that the last Time Is Now tournament was going to be another Jey Uso and Gunther match. That not turned out to be the case, and I don't think it was never going to be the case. I think it was probably always going to be. It probably was going to be Sheamus and what's his face, but Sheamus got injured, so they went to LA Knight. But yeah, it's a very good rivalry between those two showing up this year. But there can only be one rivalry of the year, and the winner is it's CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I mean, this has been more than a year, but the year that they've had, the terrific match at Netflix, the first Netflix at the beginning of the year, then the being a part of the Triple Threat match along with Roman Reigns, a couple of Saturday Night Main Event matches, and then of course the Rules of the Century. This has been a tremendous rivalry, and like I said, they've made a bunch of money, and it's good on them. So that's very good for those two guys. CM Punk and Seth Rollins is your 2025 rivalry of the year. Premium live event of the year. What was the best premium live event this year for the World Wrestling Entertainment? Let's find out. The nominees are Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia, WWE Evolution, the second all-women's premium live event, the Royal Rumble back in January, SummerSlam, the Elimination Chamber, and of course WrestleMania 41. Really quick, just to look at it, we talk about Crown Jewel. We have the great AJ Styles John Cena match from that one. That was great. We talked about Evolution having the shocking cash in for Naomi, and the matches on that show were really good as well. The Royal Rumble, Jey Uso, cementing his legacy, winning the Royal Rumble. Unreal, great stuff, and a tremendous ladder match between Cody and Kevin Owens. SummerSlam, amazing 2-night event. Even though I still think these events should only be one night. To go 2 nights with what they did was, I think, incredible. And we saw the the advent of Jelly Roll making his debut. So it's going to be some interesting fun for there. The Elimination Chamber. I mean, what else can you say? We had a hell of a unsanctioned fight between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then of course the men's Elimination Chamber, the women's Elimination Chamber saw Jade beat up Naomi and crush her because Jade found out who the person was that injured her. So it was great. And then of course WrestleMania, all the great stuff. At the end of night one, the main event, and then the beginning of night two, and all the stuff between Dominic Mysterio, Joe Hendry making an appearance as the TNA champion to face Randy Orton. So much more. WrestleMania, Jey Uso, becoming the world heavyweight champion. All of that was such great stuff at WrestleMania. But there was one premium live event that stood above them all. The winner for the 2025 Premium Live Event of the Year it was SummerSlam 2025. So now, let me just go back to my notes, and let's talk about the matches that went down at SummerSlam. Let's take Saturday. We had the Bloodline Tag match between Jay and Roman against Braun and Bronson, right? That was 4 and a quarter star. The women's tag, where Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss won, that was 3 and a quarter star. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross was 3 stars. The women's tag match. There's another women's tag match? Oh shit! See, well, I don't know. But that was 3.5 stars. There was Jelly Roll and Orton versus Paul and McIntyre. That was 3.5 stars. The main event, the World Heavyweight Championship match between Punk and Gunther, was great. And then, of course, we got the Rules of the Century afterwards. That was SummerSlam Saturday. On SummerSlam Sunday, the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match between Naomi, who at the time was pregnant, but she didn't know it, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. That was 4 and a quarter star. The TLC match between all the six tag teams. That was a 5-star match. The Women's Intercontinental match with Becky Lynch, apparently she didn't like too much of it. I thought it was great drama, great storytelling. I give it 5 stars. The steel cage match between Solo and Jacob. I gave it 2 and 3/4 stars, just an average, but hell, if the men's IC match was 3 stars, and then the title match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes, that was 5 stars. So I mean, you talk about a match, you're talking about a pay-per-view that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It had 12 matches over 2 days, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half of those matches were better than 4 stars. The other matches were 3 stars, and you really only had one match, and that's under 3 stars. And again, when you talk about like a 2.5 and a 2 or 2 and 3/4 star match, that's that's just average. It's not even saying that that's bad, or anything like that. Because I don't know if anything's bad, but maybe it's a little bit boring. So that's why you might get like less than 2.5. But even still, that's still pretty good. So SummerSlam was a tremendous premium live event this year, worthy of being the 2025 premium live event of the year. Moment of the year. The nominees are John Cena tapping out in his final match, John Cena turning heel, aligning with the final boss and Travis Scott, the Rules of the Century, Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank on CM Punk, Joe Hendry appearing in WrestleMania against Randy Orton as the TNA Heavyweight Champion, Jacy Jayne shocking the world and beating Stephanie Verker for the NXT Women's Championship. And Jey Uso living the dream, becoming World Heavyweight Champion by beating Gunther at WrestleMania. Listen, I'm not even going to give anybody any thought because there's only one answer here. But before we announce what it is, let's just go over the other ones. John Cena tapping out. There's been a lot of talk, and there's still a lot of talk about that one. I think John explained it perfectly on the What Do You Want to Talk About podcast with Cody Rhodes. Yeah, that was meant to be what it was supposed to be. He tapped out because he was comfortable being there and doing what he needed to do, and he was comfortable with what he had accomplished, and he didn't need a win to satisfy what he's done in his business. So he tapped out. Beautiful. Joe Hendry at WrestleMania. Everybody was thinking, when unfortunately Kevin Owens had to pull out because of his neck injury. People were talking about who was it going to be because we had heard the things, the reports that they had signed Rusev, they had signed Aleister Black, and it was going to come with this. But I was thinking, listen, you've got the TNA partnership. It's Joe Hendry, isn't it? And a lot of people were like, no, it can't be. It's not Joe. It's not Joe. But who you know what it was? It was Joe Hendry. And listen, you can say what you want to say, how that match went and everything like that, but I truly believe Joe got the rub from Randy Orton. TNA got the rub from WWE that night. And that was good. It was what it was, what it needed to be. It didn't need to be some type of long classic or anything like that. It was just a surprise, touch the world. Make sure Randy Orton appeared in his 20th WrestleMania, and make sure that TNA and Joe Hendry was on one of the biggest spotlights in the world. Jacy Jayne beating Stephanie Verker. Now, everybody was shocked because we didn't see it coming. We didn't know that she was going to be, leaving so quickly to the main roster, and we didn't think if it was that it was going to be Jacy Jayne. But that's what made it such a great moment. The shock of it. Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it had to be. I will admit that I was wrong in thinking that that this had been the plan all along for Jey. Because apparently it wasn't. Apparently they had like CM Punk, originally scheduled, and then Michael Hayes threw out, well, why not Jey Uso? Because see, for me, I go back to 2024 in Paris, France, Backlash Paris, when he got that enormous, ovation, and everybody had on the lights, and they were heating and everything like that, and I would have thought then that's when Triple H said, yeah, it's Jey Uso's the World Heavyweight Champion next year. But I guess it wasn't, and I still have a problem with him, only getting the title, holding the title for 51 days. They could have easily done CM Punk and Jey Uso at SummerSlam. It even could have been CM Punk, Gunther, and Jey at SummerSlam, the main event. And nothing would have changed, but you could have put Jimmy in the tag match with Roman because actually Jimmy probably needs the rub more than Jey would have, but it is what it is, and I don't know if he's ever gonna get an opportunity to hold it again because we've got guys now, and we've got a lot of guys coming up, and there are still gonna be guys who are gonna want to hold championships. Roman, Punk, Rollins, Cody, and then we got all the young guns, Braun Breaker. I'm sure Finney's going to be in that mix. Javon Evans, all these people. You never know who's going to, get a chance up. But at least he got a little bit of a run with it. So you got to be happy about that. the rules of the century. You know, it is what it is. Some might say it's karma. Karma. They faked the injury, and then actually ended up with a real injury. Uh, it's wrestling. Some things will just happen every now and then. Um, but it was what it was. So there you have it. But let's face it, guys. There can only be one winner of the moment of the year, and that goes to the heel turn at Elimination Chamber, where John Cena turned on Cody Rhodes. And I still look at this picture and I laugh because, like, why the fuck is Travis there? Oh, why was he there to begin with? It's amazing. And then when you think about other stuff that happened afterwards, oh, it's. I'm not gonna say that it ruined it because it didn't ruin the moment, but it is something that when you look back on and you show and they got great editors. I'm sure they're gonna edit around the Travis Scott being in it when they show things from the past. But we all know that Travis Scott was there and everything like that. So it's going to be amazing. And going back to that podcast with Cody Rhodes and John Cena made mention of the fact that The Rock's not going to be there, Travis Scott's not going to be there. What we're going to do, we'll make the best of it. So I don't know if that was a shot at Rock and or Travis Scott, or if that was just John Cena doing what he's been doing, where he's just telling you what's going to happen. Okay, so we don't have this anymore, so we need to pivot, and we need to do something different. And he was saying all of that, and that's one of the things that in these past couple months when he's been doing these interviews, it's been like, well, we were doing this, and okay, it needs to change, and it's okay. So he's been talking about that. So who knows? But again, the moment of the year, maybe even the moment of the young century of 2000. Does this beat the Austin Hill turn? Without question, this beats the Austin Hill turn in 2001. So amazing. So John Cena turning heel. And by the way, you know how such a big moment this was. The WWE ESPN partnership hadn't even happened yet. I'm guessing. I would assume that it was in the works, but it hadn't even happened yet. And the next day, when they were talking on First Take, they were talking about John Cena turning heel, and Shannon Sharp was so upset about John Cena, and so upset at Travis Scott for turning on Cody Rhodes, and it was very funny. So, but it is what it is, man. John Cena turning heel, the 2025 moment of the year. Now to the big three awards. We'll start with Performer of the Year. The Performer of the Year. This is just when it comes to the in-ring performance, what they did with wrestling, right? The stuff they did in the ring. Is all this is about. Because later on, Superstar of the Year, we're going to put everything into one thing. So, your nominees are Oba Femi, Io Sky, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, Ethan Page, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. These 7 nominees had tremendous years in the ring, putting off great performances seemingly time after time, never shrinking down in the moment, doing what they had to do to put on a performance, to tell their story and to entertain the people. It was tremendous. But only one can be your in-ring Performer of the Year for 2025. Or can it be one? Well, the winners are Ethan Page and Javon Evans. surprising, right? But here's the thing: when I went back and I looked at the matches, and I was looking back at what I had written down, and what and the ratings I gave these matches. Both Ethan Page and Javon Evans have 3 5-star matches this year. 3. 2 matches they were in together. There was the roadblock match between Ethan Page and Javon Evans, which, by the way, they could have been nominated for Rivalry of the Year too, with the rivalry earlier in the year where Ethan Page broke Javon Evans' jaw. So they had one. They had a pretty good rivalry as well. But if we talk about roadblock, where Ethan Page and Javon Evans had a match, it was 5 stars. Then they had the Worlds Collide match. It was a Fatal 4-Way match. They were a part of that one. That one was 5 stars. And then we had one with Ethan Page took, on the Invasion, right? On the Invasion Showdown. No, it was on the Showdown NXT. Ethan Page had a match with a tremendous match with Mustafa Ali. That was 5 stars. And Javon Evans at NXT Stand and Deliver, along with Trick Williams and Obafemi, had a 5-star classic. So both guys had 5-star matches. It had 3 5-star matches. And I believe that was correct. That was maybe the only people that had multiple 5-star matches. Well, no, there's a few others that had multiple, but they had the most in with 3. So they shared it. The 2025 in-ring performers of the year are Ethan Page and Javon Evans. Match of the year. This is where the match it tells a story, and it tells it so good and so great that it will go down in history as one of the best to ever go down in wrestling history. Correct? Your 6 nominees for Match of the Year are the Triple Threat match from WrestleMania Night 1: CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. NXT Stand and Deliver main event: Trick Williams, Obafemi, and Javon Evans. From the SmackDown before WrestleMania, DIY versus the Street Profits versus the Motor City Machine Guns in a TLC match. From Crown Jewel, Perth, Australia, John Cena versus AJ Styles. From SummerSlam, a TLC match between Fraxium, the Motor City Machine Guns, the Street Profits, the Wide Six, Andrade and Rey Fenix, and DIY. And from Worlds Collide, the Fatal 4-Way match for the North American Championship. Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, and there was someone else. I'm not knowing the AAA guys enough, so I don't know who it is, but I believe it was Dragon Lee. It might have been Rey Fenix. I don't know, but it's a Fatal 4-Way match from the Worlds Collide match, from the Worlds Collide in Los Angeles before the Money in the Bank show. So. Now, before I give you the winner and give you my thoughts on these other matches, I do want to go out and see and give some shout outs to some of the other matches. Let's see if I have them around here. I may not have. I may have thrown them away. But again, if we go back to the Royal Rumble, and we just look at it, which, by the way, I should also tell you, the way I do my match of the year is that it has to be a 5.5-star match or better to be nominated for match of the year. But the last couple of years, it's been all 5-star matches. So if we look at it, we had at the Elimination Chamber, we had the unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the men's Elimination Chamber match. They were both for 5 stars. We talked about Devon Evans and Ethan Page from Roadblock. That was a 5-star match. We have from Stand and Deliver, the one that's been nominated, NXT title match. That's another one. So that's 4, right? That's 4. We got the WrestleMania Saturday Triple Threat match. That is 5. We have the SmackDown TLC match. That's 6. We've got we got the Fatal 4-Way match, which Worlds Collide. That is 6. We got the Vikingo and Chad Gable match, the main event from Worlds Collide. That's 7. The Evolution main event between Rhea and Io Sky. That's 8. The SmackDown TLC match on SummerSlam Sunday is 7. The women's is 10. The women's IC match for SummerSlam is 11. The WWE title match is 12. Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali's 13. And the Crown Jewel, AJ Styles and John Cena match makes 14. There were 14 5-star matches this year by my account. And I had to pare those down from 14 to 6. And I believe these are the 6 best. The main event at WrestleMania 91 was a tremendous, great storytelling. The heel turn from for both Seth and Paul Heyman, tremendous, turning their back on Roman and CM Punk. God damn it, that Stand and Deliver match was tremendous. Just absolutely tremendous. Stole the show. Unreal. The SmackDown TLC match that was not on WrestleMania, it was on the SmackDown before WrestleMania, was awesome. So as was the one that was on SummerSlam with 16. 16s was kind of too much, I believe. I believe 3, 4 at the most, I think would do it. If you do 4 tag teams, I think that can be great stuff. I think having 16s is just chaos. And then also don't forget they had Candice LeRae get involved and everything else, Nikki Cross. So all of that was crazy. The Fatal 4-Way of Worlds Collide was just amazing, absolutely incredible. And then of course, the love letter to professional wrestling that AJ Styles and John Cena wrote that Saturday in Australia was just absolutely incredible. But only one can be match of the year. Or can it? That's right. The winners of match of the year are: it is the WrestleMania Saturday main event between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. And this John Cena vs. AJ Styles, the Crown Jewel Purse match. And here was my thing about it. Like, see and here's why I chose both of them. And you may think that this is a cop out. So be it. But the WrestleMania Saturday match is a match full of story. And it's full of, not only was the in-ring wrestling grip, but the story that they told and the stuff that they were going about themselves, and then how the heel turn with Heyman and both Seth, and how all of that ended. It's just pure wrestling beauty. And when I think of a 5-star wrestling match, that is what I think of. With everything from the in-ring work to the storytelling to every insy bitsy teeny weeny crevice of morsel in that match was perfect. And then you have the John Cena AJ Styles match, where there's no storytelling involved whatsoever. There's no, and even AJ Styles admitted it. There's no story. They didn't need a story. All it was John Cena and AJ Styles. John Cena, who is going to retire at the end of the year. And AJ Styles, who said that 2026 was his last year, he will retire sometime in 2026. They went out there and they did moves, and they did tributes to their friends and their foes. Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian. Which, by the way, that was what AJ Styles did. It may be called the Dead Eye now, but apparently that was Frankie Kazarian's move, finishing move, back in the day. Samoa Joe, Shawn Michaels, a guy that AJ Styles never got the opportunity to wrestle. But that would have been the creme de la creme if he would have got the opportunity to do that. The Walls of Jericho, the Sister Abigail, the fake out on the 619 after the fans started chanting for him. The RKO and then trying to go for the punt. There was so many things in there that was just magical. And again, it was a love letter to professional wrestling. That couldn't have been written by two better people than John Cena and AJ Styles. And I could not give John Cena and AJ Styles match of the year, but I also could not, in good faith, not give the work of art that was the WrestleMania Saturday main event, the thing as well. So they both are winners of the 2025 match of the year. And finally, Superstar of the Year. These 8 superstars, with the in-ring work, the character work, the stuff that they have done, the promos, the mic work, everything involved this year, proved why they are the best of the best. They are at the top of their game, and why the WWE is, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest professional wrestling / sports entertainment product that you will find in this country, in this world, in fact. It is broadly because of these 8 wonderful individuals. The nominees are John Cena, a retirement tour that took some twists and turns unexpectedly, but all in all gave us the opportunity to say goodbye to one of the best to ever do it, one of the biggest superstars wrestling has ever seen, and I can say nothing more than thank you, John. Thank you, Cena. Seth Rollins, giving him a faction like the Vision, where it was about the younger people, even though Bronson Reed is almost as old as Seth Rollins is, but that's neither here nor there. To the vision for the future of the wrestling industry was great. And fortunately, he got hurt. I would have loved to have seen, where this went. The reports are that it was going to go towards Roman and Seth Rollins. They were finally going to have their WrestleMania one-on-one moment. Seth has gotten injured, so it doesn't look like that. It now looks like it's going to be Braun versus Punk and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. So that's good. But Seth did a great hell of a job this year. Rhea Ripley. She had a few injuries this year. I think they actually a few injuries both her nose. I think she broke her nose twice. But she has still been putting out performance in the performance. She still gets probably the loudest cheers out of anybody in that company. She is, without a doubt, one of the one of the biggest superstars going on right now, and she had a hell of a 2025. CM Punk, the old man, after 10, 12 years away from the WWE, came back and won the World Heavyweight Championship not once but twice. And he finally got to main event WrestleMania. And when he main evented WrestleMania, him, Seth, and Roman tore down the house. Amazing. CM Punk at 46 or 48, wherever he is, when he can do it, he can still go. I was very worried. I go back to that SummerSlam match of 2024. I believe I gave it like maybe three and a quarter, 3.5 stars. But I was kind of worried because it did look like the CM Punk was a step slow. And I hate to say it, but I almost was like, I think Drew McIntyre is going to carry CM Punk in this match. But he came back a couple months later with the Bad Blood match and proved me wrong. And he's been seriously back. And glad to see him back. Obafemi is the star. Obafemi is, listen. Back in the day, the AEW talked about the 4 pillars of AEW. And if I was correct, I believe it was MJF, it was Jack Perry, it was Darby Allin, and it was Sammy Guevara, I believe. I believe those were the 4 pillars. Right? But I don't want to talk about pillars. But Obafemi is one of the 4 or 5 people that should lead WWE into the next millennium. Into the next decade plus. Him, Braun Breaker, Devon Evans, and who else? If you want to throw in Sol Ruka, if you want to throw in Trick Williams or Carmelo Hayes, I'm calling him Anthony, Carmelo Hayes, whoever it is, but Big Over for me has a future, and he went on the biggest stage, Saturday night's main event. When millions and millions of eyes are watching because of John Cena's last match, he went and he showed up and showed out. And I talked about, they're already talking about Javon Evans being a free agent. I would not be surprised if they're doing that with Oba right now, and I think they are. And Leon Slater's not going to win because he's a TNA guy. I don't think TNA got. I don't know if they would put a TNA guy, have a TNA guy win the NXT championship because, of course, you can't do that. Saying TNA's better than WWE, you can't do that. But I think at some point, Ober family will be losing that title and going to the main roster. And going to the main roster, he should go right into. Some kind of championship. Give him the Intercontinental Championship or give him the United States Championship. Jey Uso. He's still getting a lot of yeets. He is still, very, I want to say one of the most popular people on the planet when it comes to professional wrestling. I don't know where the Jey Uso hate has really come from, and when you talk about him not being wrestling, I think it's absolutely false. He can obviously wrestle his ass off. There's no doubt about that. And he's more than just an entrance. The character work he has done over these years have just been incredible. But when you get something popular in this day and age of wrestling, it is city. You can't. ADHD. It's just like, well, okay, oh yeah, oh, but there's someone else over here, you know. So, and so we want this over here now. We're through with this one. We want this one over here now. So it's insane. But Jey Uso's still a superstar and still one of the biggest ones in the company. Cody Rhodes. You know, you say what you can say about Jey Uso, you can say about Cody Rhodes. A lot of people out there they're starting to get tired of Cody Rhodes, and he is not getting boos all that much from what I can hear. He is still getting very cheered, and he's still one of the most over people in the company. But I think I think Cody more than Jay would, be closer to turning heel than the other one. I don't know, people talking about doing a Jay heel turn. I hope this is not where this is going with him and his brother, where he's gonna turn on Jimmy for not getting him a tag team championship or something. I hope that's not where this is going. So we will see. I kind of think that when Cody loses the championship, that will be the thing that would get him to turn heel. Now again, I think that's going to be against Roman Reigns, at WrestleMania 42. So that is what it is. And then you have Io Sky, who has been amazing. Been amazing in the ring. She is. People just love her. You want to talk about something like this? All of these 7 other people, maybe not Oprah Finley, but at least 6 of these other people, they have haters. I've seen it on Twitter. They have had haters in some form or fashion. The Rhea Hogan or CM Punk's too old. He's washed. Jey Uso's just an entrance. Seth Rollins talks too much. Cody Rhodes is boring. John Cena still can't wrestle. Good riddance and all that stuff, right? See, I've seen all of this. All of this when it comes to those things. I haven't heard anything better over Finley, and I don't see anything better about Io Sky. The fans love him. They love to do their little taunt with the head. Yeah. They're doing that now, and I think she is really good now. Her acting could be a little bit better. Boy, that one Monday Night Raw when I think it was her and the Kabuki Warriors and the acting that those 3 did. Holy shit. They might win a Razzie Award just for that, and that wasn't even in a movie. But if they keep to what she can do at your minimum, she's okay, she's believable. So that's why she's nominated. And all of these people are just some of the biggest stars the business has ever seen, and so glad to be able to have them in the WWE. They are one of the main reasons that WWE is as great as it is. But there can only be one superstar of the year, and I'm not going to do that. It is only one winner for Superstar of the Year. And that award goes to Io Sky. You have to give it to her. She had a tremendous, year this year. She was in just some great feuds. She was in some tremendous matches. She had some of the great feel-good moments of this year. Her acting aside, she was tremendous this year. And I don't think this is too far to say that Io Sky is just an absolute genius of the sky. I think she's an absolute belle of the ball. Any type of thing you can think of, any type of idiom that you can think of that shows talk about a person's greatness, you can put on Io Sky. So without question, the 2025 Superstar of the Year ZL Sky. So there you have it, guys. That is it for the 2025 WWE Awards, the 9th annual WWE Awards. Again, I cannot believe it has been 9 years doing this. Hopefully, the 10th annual will be just as fun. Again, I think I'm going to have a special thing for the 10th annual where I will give the top 10 WWE matches of all time. That's right. I think I'm going to go back and try to get all of the great matches and put it and rank them in the top 10 WWE matches of all time. I will certainly try to do that for you. But until otherwise, we got more stuff for you. We're gonna have a happy new year, guys. Whenever happy new year, we're gonna start. I think January 9th. I think that would be January 9th. I think will be. We'll start a new year. We'll come back and have some more That's Shoots. We didn't do a lot of That's the Shoots this year because of things and everything like that. You know, I have to try to find a balance of doing That's the Shoots weekly, so that when I say that it's my weekly episodic show that talks about professional wrestling, it is what that it is exactly that. And while also not kind of forcing myself to do it when there's nothing to talk about, right? When there's nothing to talk about. So I have to try to balance that in 2026, and hopefully I will. So, and hopefully you will be here to like it. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. I know what you guys thought of my awards. Who would you have chosen for all of those awards? Post them down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. And as always, on these WWE award shows, we take time to honor those that had an impact on the wrestling business that we lost in this past year. One last time, thoughts go out to the family, friends, and fans of these wrestling personalities. Talk to you guys in the new year.